Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Luke, and you're watching Luke the Gathering. It's time for Duskmourn, and I just got back from a Duskmourn sealed event. We had our pre-release today, and we also had it yesterday, so I played in both. A little disappointed. Yesterday, I only went 1 and 2, which I thought I had a great deck that was missing a couple of key components, which maybe if I had those, things would have turned out a little differently. I'll show you both decks, though. And then the one I had today, I thought wasn't very good. I was telling people around me, hey, this deck, I don't think it's that great. I'm probably going to lose and all of this. And it ended up going 3-0. And how often does that happen? Quite often, right? Where it's like you think you're going to do really poorly and you do well. Sometimes when you think you have the best deck in the world and it does poorly. So that was my experience with the pre-releases yesterday and today. There's going to be a pre-release tomorrow at my local game store. Unfortunately, I won't be going to that one. I have other things I have to do, responsibilities, and same thing with Monday. So these will be the two pre-releases I get to make it out to, but they were fun, and I'm just happy I got a 3-0. That was amazing. I'll show you the cards. There were a couple of cards in the deck that were actually just phenomenal and really helped me win. So without any other dilly-daddling, let's go ahead and flip the camera around, check out the decks. Alright, here we go. The other thing we're going to do at the very end of the video is crack these prize packs that I got. We got 3 play boosters of Duskmourn, and then we have 1 promo pack, which I actually won in a random drawing, so I'm really interested to see what we get in there. But without further ado, like I said earlier, we're going to look right into the decks that I was able to build. Let's just check those out right now. So I think this is the first one here. Okay, so let's see. Hopefully it's bright enough. Maybe I should try to brighten it just a little. Okay, maybe that's a little better. We'll see. Anyways, this deck that I played on Friday, which was yesterday, was a deck that, let's see. You know what? I know why, because this light. I need to turn it, and now it's going to probably be too bright. So let's just switch that. Okay, let's try that. What was this? This was Golgari. This was green and black. So, green and black. Terramorphic Expanse, great card. So, in both my decks, I was interested in getting cards into the graveyard. Terramorphic Expanse is great for that. So, that was amazing. I thought this card was pretty good. Winner's Intervention. Deals 2 damage to target creature, and you gain 2 life for just 2 mana. I thought that was a really nice little removal card. Yeah, I thought it was great because a lot of things have 2 power, like the manifest creatures that are floating around, not flying. They're not flying creatures, but they're out there just causing all sorts of trouble, and this can take care of those, especially if they're tapped out and they can't flip them over or anything. Worker Folk Thresher. This guy's a beast. His Delirium. So this is cool. So when this thing attacks, if there are 4 or more cards in the graveyard of different types, you get to look at the top card of the library. If it's a land card, you put it right onto the battlefield. That is great text. And then, if you don't, you just put it in your hand. I mean, that's ridiculous. And it's a 4-drop. It's a 5/4, so it's really big. It's also an artifact creature, so like if this gets into your graveyard, it counts for 2 things for Delirium. You're already halfway there. You got Terramorphic Expanse. That's already 3. And then you play like an instant or sorcery, and you're at Delirium already. Fear of Lost Teeth. So 1-drop. This is really cool. It's just a 1/1, but when it dies, you can do 1 damage to any target, and then you also gain a life off that. Just really solid. Defiant Survivor. This is also a great card, but this is a survival card. And so what happens is, at the beginning of your second main phase, if this thing is tapped, you manifest Dread. So you automatically get to look at the top 2 cards of your draw deck, and then put 1 card face down as a 2/2 creature and the other one into the graveyard. Moldering Gym Weight Room. I think this is just a good, solid card for ramping. This gets you a basic land card onto the battlefield with the 2 and a green side. And then later on, 5 and a green, you get a manifested card, but it's a 5/5 because it gets 3 +1/+1 counters, so it's a 2/2 with 3 counters on it. Ooh, Pyroclasm. See, I boarded this in because the guys that I were playing, at least one of them, was playing a really low to the ground deck. But, of course, what would happen is, when I'm milling, I mill this away. This is not the card I want to mill away, because there's no way for me to get this card back. And so, I want to mill away. Certain things for Delirium, I'd be happy to mill away any other sorceries. Unfortunately, this was one I milled away, and that didn't help. I thought this Slavering Branch Snapper was pretty good. It's a 6-drop, 4 and 2 green with a 7/6 Trampler. You can also Forest Cycle it for 2. Yeah, good card. Given to Violence, it's a fine combat trick. +2/+2 and Lifelink. I always love Lifelink. Anytime you can put Lifelink on, I personally just hate it when people hit me with Lifelink. I just feel like it's so hard to race them. Say Its Name. I didn't have the super big card, I guess, that has this, but I did like that you could mill 3 cards and then return a land or creature. This actually helped me quite a bit in terms of if I was missing a land or I needed a creature. I thought this was pretty decent. Wary Watchdog is a 3/1. When it enters, you surveil. When it dies, you surveil. When it goes into the graveyard, obviously it's a creature. You can also look at those surveil targets and see, do I want to keep them on top of the deck, or do I want to throw them into the graveyard to maybe get to Delirium? Bellmark Leech was just a 2-drop. Has a text that deals with rooms. My decks didn't really have anything room-centric, so not that good. Defiled Crypt and Cadaver Lab. Pretty cool. For 1 mana on the Cadaver Lab, you can return a creature card from your graveyard to your hand. I think that's pretty good. But you want to cast the Defiled Crypt side first, because then when you do the other side, you can make a 2/2 black horror enchantment creature token. Horrid Vigor I thought was a pretty decent trick. Won me a couple of games. Makes the creature gain Death Touch and Indestructible. So whatever this is going to interact with, it will kill it. Overgrown Zealot. 2-drop, 0/4, but it is a mana dork of any color. So this is pretty solid mana dork. Here's another Winter's Intervention. Spine Seeker Centipede. This is cool. When it ETBs, you get a basic land, but of course into your hand, not the battlefield. Appendage Amalgam. Not the best card ever. It's a 3/2. When it attacks, you surveil. I actually use this card mostly for surprise attacks. A lot of my opponents had some really great cards, and flashing this in to kill them when they thought they would be able to get through was exactly what this thing did in the games that I played it with. Balustrade Worm is really cool. I mean, it's a 5/5, can't be countered, trample and haste. Those are ridiculous. And then you can also, if you have Delirium, return it for just 2 and 2 green to the battlefield with a finality counter. This is a beast of a card. Fear of Missing Out was also in this deck. So I splashed for red. When this enters, you can discard a card, then draw a card. And then if you have Delirium, whenever Fear of Missing Out attacks for the first time each turn, what happens is you can untap a target creature, and then there's another combat phase. Screaming Nemesis is a card I feel like I've pulled a lot recently. It's a 3/3 haste for 3. This is fun. When it's dealt damage, it deals that much damage to any other target. So that's really cool. If a player is dealt damage with this way, they can't gain life for the rest of the game. So it can lock them out of life gain. The Swarm Weaver. This was a great card. I really liked whenever I got this in my hand. It creates 2 1/1 black green insect creature tokens. But get this. With Delirium, it gives all insects and spiders +1/+1 and Death Touch. That is pretty wild. This card I thought wasn't that good. This is something that can recur from the graveyard a lot, but it's a trample haste 2/2. It can come back as a 3/3. Um, I wasn't super impressed with this card. Maybe it wasn't the best card for the deck, um, but I wanted to give it a try. And look at this, the promo card. I got Valgavoth, Terror Eater. Now, what was the sad thing? I never ever had 9 mana to ever cast this. I just threw it in the deck for fun because, what if? You always think, what if? Um, so throwing it in the deck wasn't the best idea. But what was really bad is I didn't have any reanimation cards. Like, I know they're there. I've seen them. I've seen them in preview cards, but there were at 0. There was a goose egg number of reanimation spells. So if I had at least one card that could possibly reanimate this, that would have been so good. But I didn't. And there's that deck. Obviously this is super powerful, but if it's in your hand, it's not powerful at all. Okay, next deck. This was today's deck, the 3-0 deck. Terramorphic Expanse, again, really important card. Lakeside Shack. I actually like these dual lands quite a bit, especially in Sealed where you can splash a little bit. Going along with that, Overgrown Zealot with the Mana Dork. Can add colors, any colors. Keys to the House. Now, this deck was really interesting because the reason I think this deck wasn't going to do well, because actually I was running out of playables, and I was just kind of thinking, well, what could I kind of put in? What might be useful? Keys to the House was something I put in. It was useful because I had drawn 7 cards at the beginning of the game. I had a Keys to the House, but I was missing a color, and guess what? This helped me grab that. Then I got all my colors out. This particular deck was, of course, black, green, and blue, with a much higher emphasis on blue than green, I think. But speaking of green, I had 2 of these, the cards that find you lands and can also make a 5/5 manifest guy. Get Out was cool. It was cool to just hard counter some creature spells that I didn't want to see on the battlefield. This was really good. Stay Hidden, Stay Silent. It's a tapping down card. Really nice. Helped enable a number of combats. Fear of Falling. I never really got this card out. I'm not sure why it was even in a deck. It's a common 4/4 flyer with a little bit of upside. But like I said, I was running out of playables, and I just had to shove some cards in. That was one of them. So you can imagine, I'm shocked that this deck went 3-0. Monstrous Emergence is really cool. It's a punch spell, a bite spell. You just punch him in the face, and not just with something in play, that you have, but it can be in your hand, and that's really sweet. Fear of Failed Test is a crazy card too. It's a 2/7. Look at it. It's a 2/7. Whenever this deals combat damage to a player, draw that many cards. So if you hit for 2, you can draw 2 cards. That's stupid. But of course, it's not going to be able to hit that often, I think. I think opponents don't want to give you that card draw a lot of times. It's also a 5-drop, so it takes a while to get down. This particular room I thought wasn't going to be that good, but it turned out better than I thought it would be. It's the Underwater Tunnel. And what that did was it helped me just surveil 2 for 1 blue. And so this actually really smoothed out my card draws by a lot. Underwater Tunnel helped with that a lot. And the Slimy Aquarium was great just to get 3/3 into play. Dagger Maw Megalodon. Just a huge blue creature. I thought the island cycling was something I might be able to do, and I did. But having a 5/7 vigilance out is pretty strong. I love this guy. For 1, it's a 3/3, but it can't attack or block unless there's Delirium basically happening. And it helps you get Delirium because you can mill a card every upkeep. Plus, it's an artifact creature, so you have ready 2 if this happens to go to the graveyard, and I had 2 of them. Defiant Survivor. Already talked about Defiant Survivor being a strong card. Cursed Windbreaker. I like this. So when you do this, you manifest Dread. I had 2 of them, and basically it's a flying 2/2. And that did a lot of work for me. And then if it falls off, it costs 3 to equip. Not the best equip cost, but if you have the mana, it's totally fine. Here's another Fear of Lost Teeth. I thought this was great. Enter the Enigma. This is so cool. Target creature can't be blocked this turn. Draw a card. So you saw, like, I have cards where on hit they can draw cards. So this just helps me draw extra cards and helps me get the creatures I want through. Enduring Curiosity. This is a cool card. It's a 4/3. It's kind of decently big. And whenever a creature you control deals combat damage, you can draw a card. That's great. So that doesn't mean just Enduring Curiosity, but any creature. And if this dies, it just goes right back to the battlefield as an enchantment that says whenever a creature dies, you draw a card. So, or combat damage. That's what it is. So sweet. Twitching Doll. This is a mana dork I always loved. Every time you tap it for mana, you get a counter on it, and then you can sacrifice this doll whenever you want later as a sorcery to make 2/2 green spider tokens with reach for each counter on Twitching Doll. Nuts, right? Really great card. And this was one of the best cards in the entire deck. Unstoppable Slasher. Death Touch 2/3 for 3. But whenever this deals combat damage to a player, they lose half their life rounded up. Ouch. That's harsh. And it doesn't even die. When it dies, it just goes right back to the battlefield with stun counters on it. Crazy. This actually did slash my opponent's life totals in half a number of times. This was like the MVP, really. And if this guy didn't work out, I had a couple other cards. Uh-oh, I'm missing a card. This is actually a sweet card. Oh, Mirror Room. This makes a copy of, like, a card. And oftentimes I'd make a copy of this guy, and then people would hate me. But there you go. And then the Fractured Realm helps you do things again. There's one more card that I have, and it is disappeared. Let me see where it is. And here it is. I found it. It was still on the other table. I got a special guest, Damnation, a Wrath. So good, and the art is pretty sweet on it as well. All right, let's open up our packs. That was a fun deck to play in. All right, let's do the play boosters first. Zoom out just a little. Cool, got a spider token. Vile Mutilator. Swamp. Oh, Meat Hook Massacre 2. Nice. Sweet. Oh, man. Then Fear of Burning Alive. A big alien. That's crazy. Some of these cards I hadn't seen before, so I paused to look. But wow, Meat Hook Massacre 2. Nice. I think that's a good card. I love the Meat Hook Massacre Part 1. Alright, Spirit Token. Where are we? Watchdog. Swamp. Winter. Misanthropic Guide. Oh, another special guest. Maddening Hex. Sweet. What does this do? Enchant player. Whenever enchanted player casts a non-creature spell, roll a d6. Maddening Hex does damage to that player equal to the result. Then attach to another of your opponents at random. Cool. Wow. Nice. And then we got the other stuff in here. Cool. Wow. I got some pretty cool pulls already. Right off the gate there. And here's our last one. Sweet. We got a toy token. Final Vengeance. Peculiar Lighthouse. Ghostly Dancers. And Altenac. Oh, this is that one. Let me see what this is. Cast for 7. It's a 9/9. Whenever blah 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 becomes the target of a spell or ability an opponent controls, draw a card. 1 in a green, discard Altenac. Return target land from the graveyard to the battlefield tapped. Okay. Not bad. And it's uncommon too. All right, and our last thing that we're gonna open up is a promo pack. Sweet promos. Okay, love promo packs. Okay, we got a rare land, Thornspire Verge. Then we got Valgavoth's Faithful as our uncommon. Oh, and then Phineas, Ace Archer from Bloomborough, last set. Alrighty, thanks for watching. Good luck with Bloomborough, or not Bloomborough. Good luck with Duskmourn. Hope you guys have a great night. I'll see you next time.